Hey everybody, on this bright summer day, I'm going to start some slow braised beef short ribs here. To start out with, I have 4 boneless beef short ribs, about 2 pounds total. I have put salt, pepper, and seasoned salt on both sides, generously. And I have my cast iron porcelain lined pan here, extremely heavy, great for this job. I've got about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in there. It's been heating. So we're going to start by searing the meat first. This is a very important step. Gives it a real depth of flavor. It's important that your pan is really hot, and once again, be sure and use heavy pan for this. A couple different ways we can finish this up. One of the things you can do once they're seared, you could put them into a slow cooker and let them cook in there. I prefer to do it this way, but if you don't have time to keep an eye on it for 2 or 3 hours, then definitely put them in a crock pot. What you want to do, if you do that, reduce the liquid by a little bit. You don't have the volume that you do in this pan, unless you have a really good slow cooker. That's fine too. So, see how that sear is coming? That's good. Right here, a minute more. That's good. So flip them now. Sear them on the other side. At this point, we're not trying to cook them. Trying to get a little extra flavor out of them. At this point, I would normally chop up an onion or 2 and put in here. So as it happens, I'm out of fresh onions right now. So once we're done with the searing and we start with the braising, I do have dehydrated onion. Great substitute. Heat up just a little bit more. I do have the vent fan going on low, so that I don't smoke it much. In case you hear a humming in the background. The second side is looking well seared. At this point, I have 2 cups of beef broth, and to that I added 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce and 3 tablespoons of ketchup. I used to use tomato sauce in this, and then I discovered that the spices and seasonings that are in ketchup just really build it up. So at this point, just going to pour that on the meat. Start the process of bringing the heat back down. The whole goal on this is you basically want it to be at a simmer, so you don't want to see any actual boiling, a little bubbling maybe. But that's about it. A piece of meat like this, you can do this with roasts, you can do it with just about anything. Ribs have a tendency, especially beef ribs, to be a little bit tough, and the braising helps cook them at a slow point for a long period of time, and that's what makes them falling apart tender. Okay, right there with just a little bit of bubbling, that's what you want to see. So at this point, it's probably going to take about 3 hours, which, you know, if you don't want to tend to them that long, that's the point where you use the slow cooker. And like I said, that works too. I just happen to prefer doing it this way. So cover them up. You could also put them in the oven at this point at about 275 degrees and let them go for an hour or two. And what you want to do, whether you're in the stovetop or whether you're in the oven, check them about every hour to see how they're doing, which I anticipate these will take about 3, but I'll be checking them every hour, and you just check them for tenderness. Once they've reached that almost falling apart stage, fork tender, then at that point, that's when you want to take them out and they're ready to serve. See you in a few hours. Here we are at 1 hour. Let's see where we're at here. Fork out. By the way, I realized I hadn't put the onions in earlier, so I did go ahead and put those in, but 2 tablespoons of dehydrated onion. Nope, those are still very tough. So, cover them up, another hour. See you then. Here we are at 2 hours. Better, not there yet. We're going to take all 3 hours for these. While I'm waiting, I went ahead and peeled and cut up some potatoes, getting them ready to boil so we can have mashed potatoes with our ribs tonight. All right, here we are at the 3 hour mark. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah, that's what I want. Okay. At this point, we're going to put these out on a plate. It happens to be a warm plate, not hot, just warm. And the fourth. Okay, I'm going to cover that. Keep them warm. One more step to do here. Second, it would be, since I did make mashed potatoes, we better have some gravy. We've got all this wonderful broth here that we need to do something with. Turn our heat up just a little bit. I took a 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour and a 1.5 cups of water and put it into my old pickle jar. That'll be my thickening. It's one of the best ways I've found to mix up your thickening. Okay. Everything up. Okay, a little more on the heat. I'm gonna take all of this, let's see where we go. Okay, that's all it took. We have gravy, folks. You can take the rest of that thickening that's left, put the lid back on it, stick it in the refrigerator. Need any thickening in the next 3-4 days, it'll still be good. After that, just get rid of it. It's just a little flour and water. And there we go. Easy peasy gravy. Cook it long enough that you make sure you cook the flour so you don't get a floury, pasty taste to it. There we go. Burn it off. No fuss, no muss. Okay, just a minute to get set up and we're gonna dish everything up here. I do believe we're ready to plate. So let's go ahead and start by getting one of our ribs on here. Set those aside. Nice homemade mashed potatoes. Which turned out pretty well. I'm gonna make a well in those because we've got that wonderful gravy that we just made. Okay. I also went ahead and fixed a vegetable for this. Little broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots. Add some real color and nutrition to your plate. Nice portion of vegetables. Need to add a little bit of our gravy on here. I should have found a bigger ladle. There you have it. Slow braised beef short ribs. Take a look at that. And let's have a bite. Oh yeah, fork tender, beautiful. Let's get a little mashed potato and gravy on there too. Oh my God. It's worth the 3 hours of braising. That is so good. And again, slow braised beef short ribs, mashed potatoes, gravy, a little vegetable medley. Got a great dinner, and that's what I'm going to go do right now. Thank God this is not my first kitchen.